You're listening to the Scottish Football Forums podcast, the home of Scottish football banter.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Scottish Football Forums podcast. I'm John and I've got another guest special, the last one of 2020, and I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Go Radio presenter and producer and St Mirren TV presenter and fan, Ali DeFoy. Ali, thank you for coming along.
Thank you so much for having me, John. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm glad we finally got this sorted. We've been trying to get this for months, but I'm glad we're getting it before Christmas. It's good times. So you're obviously enjoying life at the moment with your new position.
Yeah, I'm useless. It's all my fault. But yeah, the football show's just sort of started at Go Radio, so there's so much to do. It's just sounds crazy, obviously, with the football the way it is and fans not being able to go there. But the fact that I'm able to go to quite a few matches at the moment is really awesome. But there's so much going on with press conferences and the show, and with presenting St Mirren TV as well. So it's all go, but it's really, really good. It's nice. I've got a wee week off this week, so I need to try and start organising some Christmas presents.
Yeah, good luck with that in the 10 days before Christmas as we speak. The Go Radio, it's obviously something that just came in the last couple of months, the football show. I've obviously called in a couple of times. So how did it come about, that gig?
So, gosh, that's really funny, because a good few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was living in England and I decided I'd lost both my grandparents actually within a month of each other, and my brother had a baby, so I became an auntie, and I thought, you know what, I think it's time to move back to Scotland. No idea what I was going to do. And when I arrived here, one of my friends said to me, Ali, like, there's not sort of shocking TV down in up in Scotland like there is in England. Why don't you try radio? And I thought, it's not something I've ever really thought of. And he presents in a show in England on Heart. And he's like the breakfast presenter down there. And he said, look, I'll put you in contact with some people who work in Scotland, and maybe you can meet them, just have a chat and see if that's something you want to do. And I met Gary Muircroft, who is now my boss, or one of my bosses at Go Radio. And we chatted and he kind of put me on the path of radio. And I ended up getting a job with DC Thompson in Dundee, presenting Wave FM. Went from, well, actually Central FM before then. I can't miss out them because they were great to me. They gave me my own football show on a Saturday, Goals and Gossip, which was great. And then weeknight shows Monday to Friday, late nights, which was just music and chat, which was brilliant. So my kind of starting ground was there. And then I went to Wave FM, and within a week ended up being the new breakfast presenter, which was brilliant. And I worked there for a good wee while. And then Gary was telling me about this new venture he was starting, and they wanted a football presenter and a producer for the new football show, and asked me if I'd be interested. And I met Paul Cooney, who of course is on the show, and Tracy MacLean, of course, who runs it. And it was just wonderful. It was great to meet them all. And I thought, yeah, I need to be involved in this. So I made it happen. And yeah, so that's how I'm there. Long story, but yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much, from your point of view, the perfect mix, because you get to be involved in with football, broadcasting to the nation. It's absolutely tremendous. So there's obviously a lot of competition, in the football market, because obviously you've got Clay Super Scoreboard, you've got Sports Sound. What's Go Radio's angle is to try and get most viewers to switch to them?
I think what we want to do is just talk good football and be positive and include all of Scottish football as much as we can, from grassroots all the way through to women's football, as well as Championship, Premiership, lower leagues as well, of course, with Barry and Si having their teams as well. So we just want to chat football and have good chat. And I think there's loads of great shows out there, and that's what makes it so good, because you can dip into all of them, and it's not a matter that you have to listen to one or the other, or you can catch up on one in the podcast. It's just making sure that there's great content out there from people who really believe in the game, love the game, and people who have worked in the game and played in the game. So there's a great mix. It's quite diverse, but we all really enjoy what we do. So I think we think we're fresh and exciting, but who knows?
Yeah, well, obviously I've called in a couple of times, as you know, and it's
Great caller.
oh, thank
Call
you.
anytime.
I'm glad I come across okay. But I think Rob it was good that he referred my boy as all Callum of Sky Sports fame, because we were on Sky Sports for Scotland Serbia games, so it's good about that. But you worked with some great personalities: Paul Cooney, Rob MacLean, obviously, and then Ferry and Barry Ferguson. This is just the regulars we're talking here. You know, that really sent a statement of intent to go. Really wanted to, pardon the pun, go places with them this show.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much great football content out there, and why not get some of the greatest people who are in the moment, but also have got a great history in football as well. I mean, Barry Ferguson, Scotland captain, Rangers legend, great start. Cy Ferry, open goals, podcast is going massive. Obviously, Peter Headney is great as well, and doing the sort of assisting managing as well. So he's great. So I think it's exciting that they've made sure that they've got some great people involved, and there's great guests every week as well. We've had some great guests in the studio, not as many obviously with COVID, but we've also had great guys on the phone, and girls. It's been really cool, really cool.
Yeah, it's a good diverse, and then from yourself, obviously we've rhymed off a lot of guys, but in terms of being the only female in that environment, you know, just how do you make sure that you stand out as well, that you don't get pushed around? I would imagine they're good with you, but at the same point, there's a lot of competition to be heard there.
Oh, no, do you know what? They're the experts. I'm not. I am just a presenter who is a fan and loves football. So yeah, okay, I do the sports sort of journalism side of it as well. But I just love to hear them talk. So if I can start a conversation or ignite something or bring some facts to the table, that's what I really enjoy. And then being able to produce as well and do a bit of both, it's great. I think you never get bored, put it that way. But no, they're all really good with me, and they know what I'm about. It's not as if I'm somebody who can be pushed to the side, if that makes sense, because they well, at least I feel like they're interested in what I have to say, so they're always great with me that way. And Barry's a bit of a mentor with me at the moment, which is really nice, because I'm getting to see from a footballer's point of view how he looks at the game, which is completely different from how a fan looks at it, which is really fun.
Yeah, I can honestly say, as an Aberdeen fan, I think Barry Ferguson's a good pundit. So, you know, I've got a lot. I wouldn't say that to any Aberdeen fans.
Nothing to do with Lewis Ferguson, no.
Do you know, he was a good player for Scotland. He was a good player with Rangers. You know, at the end of the day, he was a rival. He was a player, but as a pundit, I think he is exceptional. I'm not just saying it because you're on here, but see, when he was talking about you know, the Boozegate scenario, he never hides and tries to blame other people. He's always been honest with himself about it and know that he messed up, and I think that's admirable.
I think with Barry, he's one of the most sort of honest and straight up guys I've met when it comes to talking about what's going on. But he's just a great guy all round, do anything for anybody, just like Cy would. They're brilliant guys, as is Rob and Paul, don't get me wrong, but I think obviously because Cy and Rob are quite sort of in the limelight just now, they're probably the ones that most people talk about.
Yeah, Rob is never off the TV or the radio these days.
I know, if you don't see him, you hear him.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of Asai, that was also a big one for you, because he's obviously open goal fame. But it's not just the fact that he likes to have a laugh, which is obviously key. But he puts across some really good points and sees the game as it is, and I think that's admirable as well.
Yeah, they're just really honest. He's really honest. He says what he thinks, and at the same time, I mean, we're all human and we've all got opinions, but it doesn't mean we're always right. And sometimes we get it wrong, and sometimes it's okay to say that at the same time. But they're yeah, great fun, as you say, but also very fair, I think. And especially, I guess, if you think about Barry from a Rangers and Celtic point of view, when he talks about Celtic, I think he comes across very fair, because he just genuinely likes football and genuinely likes to talk about it. And if somebody's played well, he'll say it. He won't not say it because they play for Celtic and he used to be a Rangers player. It's not like that. So I think you get quite a balance, a really good balance, and fair and true comments.
Yeah, they don't hide their colours, but they're still honest at the same time. And I think that's all you can ask from a pundit, to be fair. And but you're up for a good laugh and a bit of a boogie as well, as we saw with the famous video. I remember when you said that the show was on that night, the night after we beat Serbia. I tweeted to say I'll be very disappointed if I don't get a dance video, and you obviously delivered. And Rob MacLean, dad dancing was just absolutely legendary.
I know, and he says he won't do it again. I'm so sad there's not a Christmas party this year. I would have loved to seen that. I would have got that song on.
Yeah, definitely. But you've got the boogie bus lined up for the Euros, and I was listening to the show last week with Leanne Crichton. She says she's on board as well. I mean, this sounds as though it's going to be some laugh if you can pull it off.
I've no idea how we're going to get a bus big enough. Everyone's involved. David Robbins in there, Chris Kerr. I don't know why that went out of my head there. I was like, loads of people. Marvin, Bartley, there's loads. I think everybody's on the boogie bus. It's going to be.
Did you mean Chris Burke?
Chris Burke, that's it.
Yeah.
Chris Kerr. Oh, it's because I was talking about some Mirren players earlier today. That's why. Oh, don't tell him, he'll kill me. Darren O'Dea. There's loads I should mention. There's Craggs, Stevie Cragen. There's loads. Sid, Simon O'Donnell. Oh my gosh! Right, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. If I've missed anyone, I'm sorry.
I'm sure your employers will be fine with it when this goes out. They'll just.
It's fine. I love them all. Every guest that's been on, they're brilliant.
Yeah. Who's buying the carry out for the bus?
Oh, I don't know. We've not talked about that. I don't drink, so it'll probably be me driving, to be fair. I have no idea. Maybe Barry will come with his organic wine, I'm sure. Don't know if that'll go down quite all right with Si, though. I might prefer something slightly different.
Will Si be in charge of the karaoke, I imagine?
Rob, I think.
Yeah.
Rob's mentioned a couple of times he's got a good voice, so I think whether he'll be in charge of it or just on it, I don't know.
Hey, Rob could even be penning this is the second podcast I've done where we're getting hidden talents, because you're telling me Rob MacLean's part of the karaoke, and Luke Shanley was telling me that
I've never heard him sing. I've never heard him sing. He told us, so I don't know. I can't say he's any good, but he said.
But Luke Shanley was telling me that Ian Crocker likes a bit of Les Miserables. So, at one point I was when asked the question, who should pen the song? I thought he was going to say him. That would be something. Imagine Rob MacLean and Ian Crocker penning the Euro 2020 song. That would be something.
I don't know what their writing skills are like. They'll definitely, between the pair of them, have plenty of facts. So I'm sure it'll be all factually correct. Yeah. Oh, I love a bit of a musical, but yeah, Les Mis. Hopefully, it'll be a bit depressing for a World Cup.
Yeah, I wouldn't think. Listen, Les Mis is probably better than our last finals anthem of "Don't Come Home Too Soon." To be fair, so I don't think it will take much to top that. Anything that consigns that to the bin would be really good. But you must be looking forward to that trip. I mean, I know Go Radio probably don't have rights to get into Wembley, but just to be down there will just be special.
Oh gosh, I have no idea. In our heads, we're all going, so we'll be at the door. Who knows?
Yeah, you and 85 or 1,000 others trying to get into the stadium.
Exactly. I've no idea. We haven't even. Well, I've not thought that far ahead. Hopefully, other people behind the scenes are.
Yeah. Well, let's hope things are obviously changing because obviously the vaccine's coming in. Although London had a bit of bad news as we speak about the fact that they've went into their highest tier, so they're no longer getting fans in after the initial start with 2,000. But hopefully with the vaccine coming in, the numbers will start going down and more fans will start getting let in, because that's a big problem just now. And obviously come the Euros, it's going to be massive. In terms of England, Wembley's hosting the final and the two semi-finals. And then of course we've got our two Scotland games up here plus two other matches, which is going to be massive for the country, not just from a football point of view, but it's got the potential to bring in so much income at a time where money's needing to come back into the economy.
Most definitely, and knowing what it's like at the moment being at a football match, and I know how fortunate I am, but when I was saying this in fact in another podcast yesterday, when you turn to cheer and because someone like 2 meters away with a mask on and they're probably not even a St Mirren fan, they're just another media person, it's the weirdest feeling, because obviously you've got all this joy and happiness in you and you just want to cheer, which I do sometimes. Unfortunately, you can sometimes hear me coming across in other people's commentary, but it's that moment where you want to celebrate, you want to hug with someone, you want to jump up and down, you want that moment to last for at least a good few minutes, but you just don't get that. You just sit on your seat and there's a little bit of a clap, and then like you just watch the rest of the game. And it's so sad that St Mirren at the moment are doing so well, and especially other teams. I mean, Rangers are doing great. Celtic, maybe they need their fans to give them that boost, I don't know, but there's so many teams out there. It would make a massive difference if their fans were there, and also for everyone's mental health to have that moment to go out and just cheer or scream, or, well, obviously I don't agree with shouting abuse at people, but just a lot of people, you know, when you shout, you get your frustrations out, or that some people, that is their release at the weekend. For loads of people, and I know it can completely change my Monday morning based on how we played on a Saturday. And that sounds ridiculous for anyone who's maybe not a football fan. But for me, if we have a great result, oh my gosh, Monday morning is amazing. I'm buzzing all weekend. If we don't have a great result, which with something often happens, then you're just like, all right, next weekend will be better, it'll be fine. I'm down for Saturday night, like a little bit down during Saturday night, but by the time Monday comes around, I'm fine.
Yeah, I think that must be a weird thing just now. It's starting a new football show where you're talking to fans who cannot be at games unless you're up in Inverness and Dingwall just now. Now, I get obviously that public health is absolutely number one. You know, if everything's got to be safe. But given now that we've had 8 separate test events between the one at Aberdeen and the separate Ross County and Inverness, and there was also one at Elgin, there's been no linked cases to COVID. So, you know, from that point of view, football is already proving that it can be done in a safe way. Why can't the parameters be opened? Let tier 1 go up from 300 to 600, and then introduce 300 to tier 2 and see how these clubs get on? Because, you know, apart from fans missing out, football clubs are missing out on a good bit of revenue as well. And for the lower ends, like Barry's team and size teams, respectively, that must be really difficult for them at this stage.
For sure, as you say, they're businesses. Like that is a fact. And talking to the chairman up at Aberdeen, and they were just saying that how can you go to a cinema where you don't have to get your temperature taken, you don't have to have there's no social distancing measures put in place necessarily, it's not managed, but you can do that and you can watch a film, but you can't be out in the open air, masses away from other people, social distance measures massively in place, all your temperature checks, all your other checks put into it within the sort of regime. They've got all these protocols that you have to adhere by, but that's not safe. And I just find that mad. If there was some consistency, I'd maybe understand it, but it just doesn't seem logical to me. I just don't understand how you can't sit in the fresh air miles away from someone. The stands are big enough, but you could sit next to them in a restaurant. Like you could literally sit beside them in a restaurant and have a meal and then go your separate ways. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing about the cinema is the View Cinema in Glasgow. It's shut just now, but the one in Aberdeen, you can actually go and watch an English Premier League game in there. So you can go and basically fund the richest league in the world. You can't go see your local junior side or anything like that. It's a bit frustrating. I mean, as I said before, I get the government's in a difficult position, but as you say, there's too many inconsistencies. So hopefully things will change, and we'll give the Scottish Government some credit that they have given some funding to the lower leagues size, for a grant to see them through, and for the Scottish Premier League teams, interest-free loans. But we need the fans back, and especially with these Euros coming up, we need them back sooner rather than later.
I think you're right, and I would hate to be in their position at this moment in making these decisions. And there's no way that it's easy, and obviously there's no quick fix. Otherwise, somebody would have come up with it. But I just think that with all of this going on, and with all the protocols that they're making them put in place, where's the sort of end game? If you could just say you've put all these protocols in place, you've spent all this money. I think it was like £30,000 or £40,000 Aberdeen have spent putting these protocols in place, and that there's no sort of end game. Like there's no, once you've done this, this can happen, or now that you've spent all this money, we can do this. So I think it's a shame, because you're thinking you're doing everything right by putting all the protocols in place, but then you still can't get anyone in. So it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I do not envy anyone who has to make the decision. But at the same time, I do find it a little bit inconsistent. And if somebody could talk about it and there'd be more answers, then that would be great. I think that would help a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope that January, February brings a little bit of light and that we can start seeing the end of the tunnel. And hopefully the vaccine, which has a 95% success rate in the thousands that they tested, will be similar to the 1 million that they're testing just now. So
you know more about that than me.
I've just been reading the stuff, that's all. As bored as I am at times. On to your own career and then how you've got to where you are now. So I understand it all started back from when you did a bit of work experience at Pace Youth Theatre, a local theatre to yourself, when you were 14.
Yes. Gosh, you have done your research. I was supposed to be going to, was it the Scottish Youth Orchestra or the Royal Ballet or somewhere, but the roof fell in. So randomly, my dad knew someone at Pace Youth Theatre, and he said, look, you can maybe get in there for a week. And I went in there and they were great. And then I joined them as I guess a member of Pace. Is that what you would be? So I joined them for a little bit and did a couple of things with them. And during my audition, this is really funny actually, I met a guy called Paulo, and we both auditioned at the same time. I think we had to sing a song or something or do a reacting piece. I can't remember, maybe a bit of both. And he sang a song by O-Town called Liquid Dreams. Now, it's a really American song. He had really bleached blonde hair and he sang it in like American accent. And I was like, oh, this is quite cool. And then it turned out that we both got in and we didn't really know anyone. So we said, oh, they had a summer ball, so we kind of go together because we didn't know anyone. So it turned out that's Paolo Nutini. So when he came out as a singer, I thought, oh, like really American. When I heard him, I thought, that is nothing like your Pace audition at all. Where did you come from? But yeah, that's my random story about how I joined Pace. And then from there, one of my dear friends at primary school, Kirsty McLaughlin, she went to the Dance School of Scotland as a ballet dancer, and all types of dance. And she went there for high school instead of going to my school, which was Greif High. And after a couple of years, they had after I think fourth year, you could join as a musical theatre student at the dance school there if you got a government scholarship. So I auditioned and I got in there and I got a scholarship, which was amazing. And that's possibly the best thing I've ever done in my life, is go to Knightsbridge Secondary with all the teachers there, Graham Dickey, who's director there, and Tree and Lynn and Gwyneth and Neil Shaw, and anyone who knows any of those people will know they're phenomenal talents. So yeah, Jim Patterson, who directed Les Mis. No, I tell a lie, Phantom. Phantom down in London. So he would come up and direct some of our shows that happened in Glasgow. But that was the best time of my life.
Yeah, superb. And you through that, you obviously got to do a lot of touring. I understand that you were Velma in West Side Story. Your website's good, by the way. So
it was horrendous. I need to spend this week fixing it. That's something that was actually on my to-do list.
Yeah, you've not put Go Radio in, so you need to update it for that. But yeah, certainly.
In about 2 years.
Yeah, so yeah, you did West Side Story, and also read that you managed to do Rent and Carousel down in London as well, and you sang at a Christmas carol concert as well down there. What were you singing down there? Do you recall?
Oh, it's hilarious. So Roy Gregory, one of the teachers there who actually taught Madonna to sing for Evita while I was at the school, and a girl called Pixie Law, actually, she's doing really well as a singer. So she was a couple of years below me. So she sang as well. And they got me to sing, I don't know why, I had to sing Ding Dong Merrily on High. Hilarious. But it was in the Barbican, is it the Cathedral or is it the church it's called? But in the Barbican, it was a summer kind of winter Christmas concert, Christmas carol concert. And they asked me to sing with 2 other Scottish girls I went to Knightsbridge with up in Glasgow. We all went to Italia Conti in London. Performing arts school down there, and yeah, they got me to sing Ding Dong Merrily on High, the highest part, which I wouldn't even attempt to do now because that was like 15 years ago. I don't even think I could try.
Yeah, we're talking about, Rob MacLean, Ian Crocker doing the Euro 2020 song. I think you're a better candidate. You've got the singing experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a good good teachers, but yeah, my singing's, I can carry a tune, but I'm no singer.
You certainly done well for yourself, and you were also the poster girl for the Fringe Festival as well. How did that come about?
How did that come about? That was through being at Knightswood, actually. The dance teacher there, Lynn Bustard, a phenomenal woman, she ended up getting me involved in a sort of Las Vegas show that travelled around, well, all the world, actually. And I was performing in that, and she called me. I think they were looking for some of us just to be in costume for because it was Las Vegas theme for the Edinburgh Fringe, so they wanted some Las Vegas showgirl dancers, which is what we did in the show, along with sort of Mac the Knife and things. So yeah, I ended up just putting my costume on and bumbling to the top of the windiest hill in Edinburgh and get my photo taken. It was Baltic as well. Buses were driving past with tourists, like, what is she doing on the hill with a big feather thing on her head? It's madness. In fact, I think this is ridiculous. You're going to laugh at me, but I've been clearing out. I only moved in my flat like 5 months ago, but I've just started unpacking, and somewhere is that photo. How funny. That is hilarious.
Oh, that's tremendous.
I can't remember what one I am. Oh yeah, I'm that one. There. I think there's a bigger one somewhere inside, but I won't bother wasting your time with that. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, you'll need to put that in your Twitter.
In amongst all my St Mirren stuff.
So you're looking for your St Mirren stuff and you come across your Fringe picture. That's random.
Yeah. That is so random. I'd forgotten all about that, and I thought, now you said that, actually.
I picked the right moment for this to be my first podcast YouTube video, so thanks very much for that.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't have sounded quite so good on just radio, would it?
Yeah, exactly.
People can't see.
Yeah. But if anyone is listening, go to the YouTube as well, and you'll see a small snippet of the picture from the Metro. Yes, I mean, what was your favourite time within those early years?
Awards night, which sounds ridiculous because I was always hide in the cupboard when it came to drama because I was rubbish at drama. I didn't understand how everybody knew what to do. They would do this improvisation thing and everybody would just start talking and be in a lift with an elephant and a monkey and a plant, and I'd be like, I have no idea what you're all talking about. This is the weirdest thing ever. So I used to just sort of edge into the cupboard in the drama class and just sort of like sit behind it so I would never get asked to get up and join in. That was the first year at Knightswood. And by the second year, I really started, the teachers are amazing, and I really started to get into it. And I won the overall drama award, which was judged by a guy from Lord of the Rings. And that was my proudest moment. That was the best thing ever. I won that, and literally my whole world, that made my world. But yeah, winning the drama award for my acting was my best moment, I think. And then graduation, was just brilliant. Yeah. Finally, the show was amazing.
Fantastic. And you got to go in River City and be a footballer's wife and girlfriend. And ironically, this was in 2005. The footballer's name was Andrew Murray. At the same point, there was a young Andy Murray coming through from Dunblane who went on to done quite all right in his tennis career. But just how was that experience?
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite Andy Murray. He's quite funny, isn't he? No, it wasn't him. And I was asked about this yesterday as well, or Sunday, I think. So randomly, it was just the weirdest experience. I turned up at River City. I'd been cast through another advert that I'd been at, and I didn't get the advert for the Fort Shopping Centre, but I did get cast as the wag of Andrew Murray. So basically, in the whole show, I think he was going out with a girl in the soap who was a kind of main character, but it turned out he had a long-term girlfriend on the side, and he'd come up to play for a Scottish football team, and his English girlfriend, whatever, was still down south. So they cast me as that girlfriend that was sort of his long-term girlfriend behind the scenes. So you didn't see actually that much of me. There was just loads of texting that you saw. The conversations, I think, were shown on the show. So I was in it for, I don't know, a month or so, but I was actually only on set for about 2 days. And the first day I got there, the guy who played Andrew Murray, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Sam Hewen, who's an Outlander. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's who it was. And he had an English accent when I met him, but he was in character, so I had no idea. So the first time I met him, he just came up to me and went, "So you're the lucky girl that gets to kiss me today?" And I thought, this is the worst day of my life. Like, not only is it my acting debut, I have to kiss someone, and he's like a douche. Like, what is this? But no, it was really good fun. Really enjoyed it. Spent like 3 days just crying because I was getting dumped, I think, on the show. Oh. So yeah, I know. It was a goodbye kiss and getting dumped. So yeah, my eyes were red raw after about 2 days. But I don't even think I had a name. I think I was classed as like crying girl, wag of Andrew Murray. But yeah, that was my little moment, my little stint on River City.
Yeah, excellent. Still something to put in your CV. But I mean, you moved more into presenting after that. You know, was that always your aim to go into presenting, or were you a little disappointed that you didn't do much more acting after that? Was that a personal choice?
No, 100%. All I wanted to do was be a presenter. That's why I joined Knightswood Secondary. I had a look. It was so funny. I don't even remember what the name of the magazine was, but years ago when I was at high school, there was a magazine and you looked and you could see like, oh, Emma Bunton's out and about, or so-and-so's doing this. And it told you what colleges they went to or universities they went to, or how they became sort of who they were. And I saw that quite a lot of them went to a place called Italia Conti in London. And I thought, right, how do I get there? Because I want to be a presenter. I like Kat Deely, Aunt Dec, Lorraine Kelly. They were like, that's what I wanted to do when I was at school. I actually got a punishment exercise writing about them because they said you had to write about your dream job and what you wanted to do. So I did loads of research on Aunt Dec and Lorraine Kelly and thinking that they were amazing and I want to do what they do. And I stood up in my, I think, was it social education class or something? And I stood up and I gave my speech to all the class as to what I wanted to do as a job. And I was told to sit down and got a punishment exercise because the presenter is not a real job. So I was raging. And then I thought, right, I have to make this a real job then. This is not funny. And then I went to Knightswood, and then Knightswood got me all the skills I needed to be able to audition to go to Conti in London. And then I went there. So it was always my dream to be a presenter. Acting, singing, dancing, I've always done. Dancing I love. That's probably what got me into the school. It wasn't my singing, and I doubt it was my acting. I must have been passable on them, but not anywhere near as good as one of the girls in my class had been in Les Mis, and she played Eponine, and someone else in my class won a BAFTA. So like, it was not for either of those skills. But when I went down to London, my dream and my aim was to be a presenter. The rest I love musical theatre, don't get me wrong, but it was always to be a presenter.
Yeah, and you got your breakthrough at Gems TV. You were there for 8 years. How enjoyable and tough was it as well? Because essentially you're trying to sell things over TV.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because it changed names. It's now called Gemporia. So I was there and within that company for about 15 years. So I started there straight out of drama school. I was making a showreel because I wanted to be a presenter, and presenters had showreels. So I went to a company and they started making one for me. And then they phoned me about 2 days later, and I thought, oh no, something's not right, something's gone wrong, they've not managed to film it or whatever. And they said, look, we're putting it together, but there's a man here who is the head presenter at Gems TV, and he's looking for some new talent, and we'd love to show him your showreel, but it's not finished yet. Do you mind us just showing him some of the rough edit? Are you okay with that? And I just said, absolutely. If it's any good, if you as a company think it's decent, then fire away, go for it. And then they said, do you mind us passing on your details? They'd like to speak to you. He offered me to go down and have an interview. So I went down there. I travelled on Valentine's Day on my own, sat on the train, spent the whole day thinking about jewellery and gemstones and thinking, how on earth am I going to pull this off? Because I know nothing about any of this. All I know that I think my birthstone is an amethyst, but other than that, which turns out was completely incorrect and it's not, because I'm born in March and that's February's birthstone. I think aquamarine. I got down there and they just put me on the telly. They said, you'll be on for 20 minutes. You'll have someone talking in your ear. You'll have all the team in front of you. And just try and talk about what you see. So I was like, okay. So I tried that for 20 minutes. And then 2 hours later, they took me off air and they said, oh, you've got the job. I was like, okay. And they went, can you start tomorrow? So I was like, yeah, sure. It turned out someone, fortunately, she's fine, but she'd had a car accident. So they ended up being short a presenter for the weekend. So I ended up staying there for about 2 months, lived in a bed and breakfast. My family posted me clothes because I didn't have time to go to the shops, which was awkward when they opened a box of my underwear in the office. That was mortifying. But other than that, it was probably the best year of my life, just before my 21st birthday in March.
Excellent. Thanks for telling me what my birthstone is, because I'm born February. I had no idea.
You're an amethyst.
Yeah.
Depending on what chart you go for, but the normal one is that would be an amethyst.
Doesn't mean much to me personally, but yeah, thanks for letting me know anyway. So enjoyable few years there, and then you went to Biz. What was that one about?
So that I did while I was still at Gems TV. That was just a wee thing I did extra on the side. It was a company that set up who wanted to do shows for like small businesses, and they wanted to kind of showcase those businesses. One of them was the VMF restaurant at Aston Villa. Another was a wee thing for Jaguar Land Rover, testing their new Evoque. Just the odd thing that, well, obviously they're not small businesses, but there were sort of, it was business news for local and small businesses and enterprises, just to kind of tell them about what's about in the industry, and if they need help with different things, different companies were able to do things. So it was like a wee business report, which was just something I did once a week on the side, which was quite good fun, and gave me a sort of different style of presenting, doing auto cue compared to Gems TV, which was just all live for 5 hours unscripted. So it was learning a new skill for me, which is why I found that quite interesting. So it was quite good fun.
Stuff. In terms of Gems TV, as I remember speaking to Ali Begg about something he was on, he was doing the shopping channel for Granada, and he said filling the gaps was very, very difficult at times, but it got his way into where he is now. In terms of you were doing that for 8 years, and there's obviously going to be times
14,
14, sorry, my apologies. 14 years trying to fill gaps. How I mean, was it just something that you get used to over time?
I didn't see it as filling a gap, though.
Really?
That sounds really odd, but I was to talk about what was in front of me, right? So you would have jewellery, whatever, but I would go off in tangents. I was talking about St Mirren half the time. If I was on a Saturday at lunchtime, I would get people to text me in with what the score was and update me. If it was a midweek game, I'd be doing the same. Like, we just had loads of fun. And I didn't see it as selling because they didn't put it on me like that.
Right.
Because if you make something that's really good, and if I do my job correctly and tell you all the attributes and everything that it has, all the pros and cons, you make up your mind if you like it or not. It's nothing to do, like, I'm not going to make you buy something you don't want or you don't need. I'm just going to tell you what it is. And then I'll move on to the next thing. And there might be something that you like, but there might not. So my whole thing is, we just have a chat, we have fun. And if there's something that you see that you like, that you want to buy, that's a Brucey bonus. But it wasn't drilled into me that you must sell 20 of these or 500 of these must sell. So I think that's probably kudos to Gems TV and the way it was run, in that they were passionate about the jewellery that they made, and we were passionate about where the gemstones came from, that they were natural, and so much about them that therefore it just made my job fun. So it wasn't like a hardcore sales job, even though sales was important for the channel to be there, but it was more fun.
No, that's good. I mean, you obviously hear about those sales targets, and it can drive people down. And I think individuals can tell when someone's trying too hard to get a sale to keep their to get their commission and job, whatever. But when people are natural about it, and just having fun with it, no, it's that same. People will buy from people, and if the people are passionate about the product and they're not trying to push you, etc., sometimes that comes across really well.
Exactly. And like it would be the worst thing for me if somebody bought something that they didn't want or they didn't need. Like that would really upset me. The fact that somebody might like something, that's great. It means I've done my job properly because I've told you everything about it. You've got it home and you still like it. Yeah. So, and there was a returns policy anyway. So if anyone changed their mind, they could send it back. So it wasn't ever, you must buy this and then you're stuck with it and then you're going to be in debt and hate the world. Like, it was just all positive. If you like something, that's amazing. But if you don't, equally, we're going to have loads of fun. So it doesn't really matter.
That's good, and I think that's hilarious that you're still trying to find out what the St Mirren score is whilst on air. Totally professional.
Always. And you could, it would depend how good you were, but slyly they would have someone come into the gallery, because I would always have about 5 million people talking in my ear, and they'd be like, Ali, what number do you want from a coffee machine? So I would always try to work in within my presentation the number 42 or number 52, depending on whether I wanted a hot chocolate or a latte from the vending machine. So if you watch back any of the shows, you'll be thinking, oh, she had a coffee then. She had a cuppa then.
That's one of the little things that you forget about from work, because we're always on a working from home environment. I know you're working in a studio, but from a working from home environment, you don't have the free coffee machine, the free hot chocolate and stuff.
Oh, no, it wasn't free. It was 12p, but yeah.
Wow.
We had a wee cup where we all put our coins in, so we covered each other. But when you work the late shift and finish at 2 a.m, sometimes you need a wee something.
Nice one. Did a St Mirren result sometimes affect on how passionate you then came with your selling? Like if St Mirren beat Rangers 1-0 or Celtic 4-0, did you then go that extra mile, think, I'm in a good mood, I'm really going to sell something now?
I didn't ever think about selling it, but everybody could tell if St Mirren had won or St Mirren had lost, I think. I was pretty transparent on that. I would constantly be talking about it. I'd be like, who scored? Who let that in? Whose defender's fault was that? But yeah, because you could text in the show live, so I could read it while I was presenting. I say, hold on a minute, just wait a minute, what's happened? All right, so a penalty, amazing, great. Right, well, let's have a look at this piece of jewellery and I'll find out what happens next. So it was more like that rather than, right, I need to sell these because I'm really annoyed. Like, it would never be like that, but yeah, it was just funny. I wouldn't hide it though. I wouldn't hide it if someone had a bad performance and I was fizzing. Everybody would laugh. Everybody would know. And people would try and wind me up. Morton fans would text in, or whoever we were playing, they would text in and try and wind me up. It was good fun.
Nah, good stuff. I could just imagine that you're trying to sell watching the games going to injury time. So stoppage time for a good watch. Here's one here.
You should be on there. I'll get you an interview.
No. I'll just stick to my being a Z-list podcaster. Thanks very much.
No, don't be daft.
So I mean, and then you go. Then you had a wee stint presenting golf for a couple of years for C3I Group. Is that right? Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah, were you a keen golf follower before you got into that?
Yeah, I used to play for the West of Scotland girls actually.
Oh, nice.
Was a captain of Ferry Golf Club for the girls as well. So yeah, love golf, absolutely, still do.
Right, so you didn't put that in, so I didn't know that. So thanks for telling us.
Sorry. Yeah, massive golfer, massive fan, and that's how I got the job through C3I. They worked with the R&A and they were putting the R&A output for the Open. So I did the 3 Opens with them, and then the latter year. I didn't do because I took up a role at Carnoustie Golf Links, and I'd literally just taken the role within about 2 weeks of the Open coming up. So I just thought it was bad timing to go and leave a new post to go and try and present there. And I think they were doing some money cuts as well. So I think they were changing up what their presenting output looked like anyway. So I think it worked out quite well. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And I'd still would present golf even in the summer when football's on break. I'd still do that. I love it. Amazing.
Yeah. Which was your favourite Open to cover?
I want to say Troon because it was my first. And also I got to play a bit of the course with their pro Kieran. And I played the postage stamp, which I don't know if you've heard of, but It's a par 3, and I landed on the green, which is a really, really difficult one, I'm told. And it is, just from research. There's 2 massive bunkers on either side that are like kind of coffin shapes, and if you get in them, you're stuffed. So yeah, that was a really good moment for me because they filmed it. So I got myself on film landing on the green, right in Italy, but a couple of inches away from the hole on the postage stamp. So that was cool. Mm-hmm. But I did love Carnoustie because I got to meet Tiger Woods, which was great as a golfing fan, and Gary Player. So that was amazing. And then the one in between, I got to spend a whole card journey with a guy called Shubhankar Sharma, who is a brilliant golfer, a young golfer. And it was his 21st birthday that week, and he made it into the sort of final cut for the Open. So that was a really cool week as well. That was really special because I was working, I think I was working in Dundee on Wave FM at that point, and then I still got to do it, I think, timing wise. But yeah, it was I don't know. I've just not given you an answer, have I? I've just told you my best bits of all 3. Probably my first, because it was really special. Henrik Stenson on that one. It was cool.
Excellent. And you mentioned you then went on to Carnoustie. That golf's also got some history because Paul Lawrie won the last Open of the Millennium in tremendous style. And it was incredible what happened there. The Van de Velde with his trousers up in the puddles. It was absolutely hilarious. But in terms of you working there, what did that role entail? I know it's head of marketing communications, but what did the role entail for those who don't really know what it is?
The general dog's body, to be fair. I did everything and anything, from people who wanted to come and film on the course to making sure everybody knew about all the youth programs that we have there, all the women's programs, men's programs, the facilities that were there, trying to make sure that everybody realizes it's not a private golf club. And anyone can go, anyone can visit. There's a great restaurant there, the Rookery, which was beautiful. You could go there and just have a meal. You could go out a nice walk on the golf courses because it's all public land. So as much as the golf courses are world class, and there's 3 golf courses there, which most people think there's only, well, it's actually technically 4 because there's like a little kids one as well, which I used to spend a lot of time on in my lunch break. But there's great courses there. It's not just the championship one, so you don't need to be scared about it being a really hard course. Yes, it's tough. Yes, the weather conditions are windy there, but there's 2 other courses there as well, which are beautiful and great to play. So I think it's probably part of my role was making sure that people were aware of what was on offer, because I don't think a lot of people do still know. They don't. And making sure that there was a great relationship with the locals as well, and everything that was going on with the local golf clubs, because there's a great partnership between the local golf clubs and Carnoustie. So yeah, there was loads to do. To be fair, I probably didn't finish everything that I wanted to do there, but the Go Radio job came up, and it was just one I couldn't turn down, unfortunately. But Carnoustie is a beautiful place. It's a great place, a great golf course, great restaurant, some fantastic facilities. So if you ever wanted a wee day away to play golf, or even just to learn, it's a great place.
I'll be a caddy for someone. Listen, I once got about 90 on a par 3 course in Lytham St Anne's, so I am not keen golfer that way. But if you need a caddy, I'll maybe do that.
Well, there is a beginner par 3 course there, so you can definitely have a go. And the sims are there as well. You can play in the simulators, which are brilliant fun.
Yeah, I think I've done a couple of simulators and stag days, but no, I enjoy watching the Ryder Cup. I enjoy watching the Ryder Cup. I think that's a tremendous sport. I mean, even for people that probably don't have as keen an interest in golf, that's a difficult one not to get emotionally attached with. And 2012 was incredible the way they fought back. Europe fought back against America from a seemingly impossible position to just turn that around was just amazing.
Most definitely. It was great to see. I love the end with the post box. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, brilliant. You know, it's an incredible game, and the fact that it can be a team sport as well. It doesn't have to just be an individual sport. It makes me love it even more. Make me want to go on the golf course.
Yeah, definitely.
Golfer, though. I don't play in the rain.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to go on a rainy day, but it'd be a nice way to spend a good sunny afternoon without question. Probably need to wear lots of sunblock because the amount of time people would take to get around it, for me, it would probably be a 95 just to get through 18 holes.
It's all right though. You get a nice food at the end. It's fine.
Yeah, that definitely makes it worth it. And a drink afterwards, definitely. So in terms, obviously Andy's back at Go here, and so you do a mixture of mainly presenting and producing. Which do you prefer out the two?
Presenting.
Yeah.
That's because that's what I've always wanted to do. But I love the producing as well. When I was leaving Gems, I was kind of the senior presenter there, so I was doing a lot of training, but with other sort of newer presenters, and I used to train the producers when they came in. So I would train them with how to work with presenters. So I would end up training up most of all the new producers when they came in, just because I guess I'd been there so long. But so from the producer point of view, I knew that well. Different in radio, obviously, but I do love it. It's a challenge, which I think is always good. It's always good to challenge yourself and learn new skills. But from the presenting point of view, it's got to be that, isn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously in sport and in football just now, you're seeing Ailey Barber being the front girl at Sky Sports, doing a very good job. She also does a lot of golf herself as well. Emma Dodds is doing Rangers TV and Premier Sports. She's really excelling. Is that something that you want to aspire to do in the future, doing mainstream that way, or are you just happy to go with the flow just now?
I'm loving Go at the moment, but I'm loving St Mirren TV on a Saturday. I'm loving being back on the TV. That's something I'm really passionate about and I really enjoy. So if things were to come up on a weekend as well, or in different days that I wasn't doing Go and that worked with what I'm doing at Go and complemented it, then that would be amazing. But I'm just happy right now being able to talk about football, go to football games and present. So I've not really thought much further than that.
Yeah, just see what happens. You've got a good job there anyway. I'm not trying to tout you away from there by any stretch of imagination. I don't think your bosses would be too happy with me if I was trying that. So I'll move this on to your love for St Mirren Football Club. You're also a Paisley girl, so it doesn't take a rocket science to say what the connection was.
No, my father was always a St Mirren fan, my brother, big brother. And then my mum sort of, I guess, just fell into that as well. So yeah, my dad and my brother probably got me into it.
Yeah. Do you remember your first game?
I don't remember who we were playing, but I remember I was wearing a stripy jumper from the sweater shop.
Well, was the club shop not good enough?
No, I think we'd gone for a wee hospitality day because my brother was the mascot. So I got to wear a new jumper, like a nice new jumper. So that for me, it was like a really special day. I got to wear a special jumper and a special outfit and got to see my brother on the football pitch. So for me, that was probably my earliest memory that I can remember.
Yeah. What's your other kind of first memories watching the Buddies?
So I usually only got to see the second half because I used to work selling programs for St Mirren, and then I got promoted to the program coordinator, which meant I got to decide who stood where with how many programs. But yeah, so I used to love that. I used to stand in the corner of Love Street, sell my programs, and then you would get a pie and you get to watch the second half of the game after you'd counted all the money and counted all the programs and divvied up what was left. So my sort of early memories were Buddies Girls and Boys Club. I used to go to that with my brother on a Saturday before the game, so you get to play a wee bit of football. Ricky Gillis or some of the players would come along and you get your photo taken with them before the match, Christmas parties and things, and then you would all sit together in the Buddies Girls and Boys Club and you would watch together as a wee group of girls and guys, which some of them I'm still friends with to this day actually, which is brilliant. And then of course it would be selling programs and then going to eat a pie. And I remember one time I had to run all the way from the corner of Love Street, so anyone who remembers this, to where the away stand was. So I had to run the entire length of this before the game kicked off, and bear in mind it was like 3 minutes to 3 because they'd run out of programs and we were playing Rangers. And I sprinted all the way up there, and if anyone remembers, there's quite a lot of stairs to get up. running up the stairs, carrying all these programs, carrying all this money, and I was absolutely shattered, and I tripped and I fell, and all the pound coins from my money belt just trundled down towards all the Rangers fans walking up the steps. Just hundreds of pound coins, like hundreds. I'd sold loads of programs, and they were just rolling away from me. I could cry. It was horrendous. And I ended up getting 50 pence more than what I should have had, because everyone picked up all the money and gave it back to me. How nice is that?
That really is good. Yeah.
I thought I was going to be in so much trouble. I thought I was going to be like £500 down. But yeah, they picked up every pound coin, every 50p, every £2 coin, and it filled my wee money belt, right. And I ended up with 50 pence more than I should have had. So yeah, nice. that was a bad day.
Yeah, I like hearing stories. I don't like hearing the fact that you fell, first of all, but just the humanity side of fans seeing what had happened, and because they would have sensed that you would have been distraught at that point, and they just wanted to lift you back up. So that's really nice. That's a really good thing. So apart from tripping up in the away stands, what's your favourite kind of memories from Love Street? Obviously an iconic ground that's no longer there.
Oh, I think it was when we got promotion to the championship, or from the championship. And I was quite young at the time, and I just remember the man next to me, no idea who he was to this day, he just picked me up and then kissed me on the cheek. And I was like, everybody was cheering, everybody was happy, and I was just like, I don't know who this man is, I don't know what's happening, but I think we've won something, so this is great. I didn't really understand at that age, I don't think. I was kind of just going with the flow and thinking, yes, and then I won. I don't think I was as into it, obviously, as I am now. But I just kind of probably followed my brother a wee bit and just like, oh, my brother likes that. That's cool. So I want to hang out with my wee brother, so I'll go. So I probably wasn't as into it as I am now. But yeah, that was a good day. And then I ended up getting dragged into a photo, which to this day I'm really pleased that I went. Whereas everybody went under the tunnel or out through the tunnel and sat in the dugout with a big sign to say that we'd got promotion or something. And I was in that photo with a bunch of people that I'd never met before who were all at hospitality, which was great. But
superb. Was that the one in 2000 that you went up? Because you went up twice during Love Street days from your time supporting. There was 2000 where you came up for a season, went down, and then there was 05-06 when Charlie Adam was at the club that you got up and were under Gus McPherson.
It would have been before, yeah.
Yeah, so because that wasn't 2000 season.
Yeah, because 2000 I would have only been. That would have been 20 years ago, so it was before that, I think.
Yeah, cool.
I was younger.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that promotion season for Smith. I think 05-06 was a wee bit more memorable because there was more coverage of the first division as it was then, and then a couple of years later, Love Street then goes. But one of the last games that you had there, you beat Rangers 1-0 live in Setanta as it was, and believe it or not, that must have been a memorable day.
Do you know, I don't think I was there. I think I was in England. I spent so many years in England that I missed so much football, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to get back to Scotland and get out of what I was doing down there, because I thought I want to be involved in football, and I missed so much. I ended up watching Aston Villa. Aston Villa ended up kind of becoming my second team when I couldn't go. So I missed so much. That was one thing that sort of upset me about moving to England to study from the age of like 17, is that I missed so much. I missed birthdays with my friends. I missed like Christmases. I didn't have Christmas or New Year for about, well, the 13 years I was at Gems TV. Like shopping telly doesn't stop. So you don't get time off. You're not allowed to book time off then. So my mum's birthday was on Christmas Eve. So that was another factor in why I came back. But no, I think I missed that game. Well, I know I missed that game, but that was because I was studying, I think, down south. So yeah, it wasn't good.
But one game I'm sure you did. Anyway. Yeah, but one game I'm sure you did come back for the League Cup final 2013. Am I right in saying, is there a picture? Is there a picture of you celebrating that day?
Oh, multiple. The quarter final, I think, against Celtic was probably
semi-final.
The semi-final against Celtic was massive, and then the actual final against Hearts was phenomenal. But I think out of the two, we were all probably most nervous about the Celtic game. And I remember before it, I went with my family and all our kind of St Mirren friends, and we all went and got a roll and some food in the morning, and then we all got the bus from St Mirren Park, as it was called then, to Hampden, and it was just the best day. And then to do it all again, like my brother's work in Paisley had big banners of it with Stevie Thompson on it, and wishing all the team good luck. I had my nails painted black and white. I had a big panda hat. It was just the best day. And then after we won, we all came back to St Mirren Park, and then the whole team came back to St Mirren Park, and we came back with the cup. So it was just brilliant. It was so good. It was just one of the best days of my life, out on the centre circle of St Mirren Park. It was just fab. Oh. And then we all went out after it, and all the players went out, and it lasted for like 5 days. We just kept going out each day, each night. Some people didn't go home, I did, but it was amazing. And to be able to experience it with my family, that was the best bit.
Yeah, because it'd been nearly 26 years since St Mirren had won a trophy. And
all right.
Yeah, no, I'm not meaning that disrespectful. Listen, I'm an Aberdeen fan who went nearly 2 decades without a trophy, so I feel the pain in that way. So I mean, but that's just a really special day, and you must be hoping that they could do it again. I mean, obviously, very tough draw in the quarterfinal, but you just never know. They've got to take their eye off the ball at some point. Could be tomorrow, although it is going to be very tough, as we say.
I think for St Mirren, it would be amazing. Rangers' current form, though, they are on fire. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. As a St Mirren fan, it would be tremendous. Of course it would be. But at the same time, it's a bonus for us, I think, this season that we're in it, and we're in it as far as we've got in it. I think with the start to the season that we've had, having to play games with the last-minute goalkeeper, having to cancel games and forfeit points, it's just been such a whirlwind of sort of bad news for us. I think that we're starting to get on a little bit of a run, and of course the confidence is going to be up. It's 9 games unbeaten they're on at the moment, 5 wins, 4 draws, if I'm not mistaken. So they're probably in the best position they've been in for a while. So it's coming at a good time for us. But at the same time, I see it as a bonus, and I'd rather make sure that if we can do both, great. But I think I'd rather just make sure we stay in the league.
Yeah, despite Tony Fitzpatrick saying top 6, I think to be fair, if you stay up, that's got to be the first priority, and then see what happens. But your recent form's been good. Obviously, you've put my team out the cup, and should have beat us in the league as well. I'll be honest and say that. Should have beat us that day. But there's such an injustice with the 2 games where you've been given 3-0 defeats. I really hope you win that appeal, because it should be played in the park. It's already going to be a complicated season with the COVID things, and it might not be a fair reflection come the end, but could you just imagine if it goes to the last day of the season, St Mirren and Hamilton are on 33 points, and Hamilton's goal difference is minus 33 and St Mirren's is minus 34, and it all comes down to a game that they won in a disciplinary hearing. It's not right.
No, you're right. And at the moment, Motherwell are in 5th position. I think 2 wins away from St Mirren, to be 5th. So I think that part of the table is so tight right now. There's a couple of wins of difference between being 5th position and being 12th. So I think do you know what? I love Tony Fitzpatrick. It's doable to be 6th at this moment in time. I think so. But as you say, to stay up would be the best part. But if it did come down to that, we'd be scunnered. Of course we would. But if those are the rules, those are the rules. Would those be the rules if it was bigger teams? I'm not so sure. I know I need to be mindful, I guess, but I just think it should be played on the park, as you say. That there should be consistency, and it should be played on the park, and those rules should be set out. But I honestly don't think we'll win the disciplinary hearing just because of the ways things seem to go for St Mirren and Kilmarnock at the moment. But you never know. I'm going to take it as, if we get it, amazing. But I'm not counting on it at all, because I think it's highly unlikely. But if it does go down to the end of it, we'll be scunnered. But Hearts were scunnered last year, so I guess you just have to take it and go with it.
Yeah, in England, Aston Villa, Newcastle, when that was postponed, the first thing they did was put a new date in. But up here, it's like straight to this one. It's just not right. But that's Scottish football for you. But we'll just need to wait and see what happens. So, but I'll just I've loved this conversation. I'm going to round off with a few quick fire questions, or as we nickname them, slow fire. So the first question I'm going to ask: we like our pie chat on the Football Forums podcast.
You like your
favorite
pie chat?
Favorite pie chat? Yeah, we like pie chat. Yeah. So,
Okay.
what's your favorite pie at the football?
Steak pie.
Good choice. And what's your favorite tipple?
Oh, I'm boring. I don't drink, so like hot
No, you
chocolate.
do. So you mentioned that earlier. Right. What's your favorite
I'm a
soft
hot
drink
chocolate
then?
connoisseur, though.
Hot chocolate.
Mm,
That your go-to then?
absolutely. I've got a hot chocolate machine. I like it that much.
Nice. Which Christmas season's coming up? What's your favorite Christmas song?
Well, probably Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. I'll sing that all year round, to be fair.
Yeah. And your Christmas movie?
Oh, apparently Elf's really good. I've not seen it. Oh, Love Actually or Home Alone. Between those two, I'm not sure. Sorry.
Oh, so they're too good. Well, Home Alone, I would choose out there too, personally. What would be your? I normally ask people what their death row meal would be, but because Christmas is coming up, what's your perfect three courses for Christmas dinner?
Oh, I love soup, which sounds really boring, but an amazing soup would be good to start. Main course for Christmas dinner, just traditional. Turkey, well, traditional for the UK, probably turkey dinner. I love stuffing. Yorkshire's. Can you have that on Christmas Day?
Yeah, it's your meal.
Yeah.
I think we're having some in ours next week.
Yeah. Veg, love parsnips, random. Yes, loads of good roasted veg.
Yes.
Meat gravy, Yorkshire's, stuffing, extra stuffing.
Yeah.
And then what did you say? Dessert.
Dessert, yeah.
That's my favorite thing. So hard to choose favorite dessert. I have everything, honestly. Dessert is my favorite thing. Christmas dessert. Oh, what do I want Christmas Day? Do you know, once I got this phenomenal, it's called a snow bomb. No idea. I'm not trying to advertise Marks and Spencer's, but that's where it was from. But I'm sure Lidl or Aldi do something too. And it was, I ate it on TV because I was presenting on Christmas Day. It was like a 16-hour shift. So I was on air covering for everybody else's Christmas Day in the UK and in the US. And I had my entire Christmas dinner on the telly. And I had this massive white snow bomb, it was called. And it was, I can't even remember, it was like sponge and whatever it was just phenomenal. So that, if I could ever find that again.
Nice. And how special is Christmas going to be knowing that you're back up?
It's going to be amazing. Thanks to Nicola, it means I think I'm allowed to see my family. So cannot wait to hug my niece and nephew, which has been, so I have my baby niece, she's only like 5 months old. So she was born in July in the middle of this pandemic. So to be able to actually see her would be amazing, to give my mum and dad a hug, a birthday hug from mum, because it's her birthday on Christmas Eve. So being with people, being with my family will be the best part. Just doing nothing, eating and hanging out would be amazing. And then football.
Yeah, that'll be good, obviously. What's been your favourite St Mirren game? We might have already touched on it, but what's your favourite St Mirren game of all time?
Oh, that's hard. Winning the cup final 2013 has to be.
Yeah, please.
Has to be.
Right. So St Mirren staying up or Scotland beating England at Wembley? Which would you choose out of two?
Oh, come on. Oh. Oh no, this is hard.
Yeah.
I want Scotland to win. I want Scotland to be amazing.
Yeah.
But I can't have St Mirren going down. So St Mirren staying up.
St Mirren have got another chance of coming back up. Scotland might not get a chance of beating England in a major tournament at Wembley again. we didn't win the last time, but no, I'll take that answer. I know you haven't had any parties because of restrictions, but when the Go Radio team will go for a night out, who do you think's, apart from yourself, who's going to be first on the dance floor?
Ooh. Shaban. Or do you just mean from the football show?
I was meaning, well, anyone within Go Radio, but I was meaning the football show, yeah.
Okay, so from everyone in Go Radio, I'd say Shaban from the Sunday show.
Right.
Love her. And from the football show, if we're just looking at Paul, Barry, Rob and Si, it'd probably be me, and then I'd probably drag up who'd be most willing. Probably Si would probably be most willing, I think. I think Barry would tell me to jump. Rob would probably be dancing. Rob might actually be doing his dancing on his own anyway. Probably be, do you know what I mean? I can imagine Rob just quietly bopping but not wanting anyone to see him.
Yeah.
I think his dancing's great actually, but I think he said after people were commenting on the Twitter thing, he said, oh, I'm not going to dance it again. So that's what makes me think I wouldn't be able to get him up too quickly. And Paul knows everybody, so he'd be chatting, so I probably wouldn't get him away from anyone. So I'll go with Si.
And who's buying the first round? Obviously you wouldn't, because you'll not be drinking.
Oh gosh, I think any of them would. Maybe Barry.
Yeah, he's got the most money, I think, out of a lot of them.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's quite. He's the kind of person I can imagine would get people organised. If we were going to do something, I would imagine be quite organised and be like, right, this is what's happening. Right, we're doing this. Right, what's happening next? Right. I can imagine he would be quite organised.
Yeah, and I'll round off. You knew this was coming. Name me your best St Mirren 11 from your lifetime.
So this is really hard, but I'm going to go with Gladkane goals because I have to. Carey, Shaughnessy, and McWhirter. Dummett, MacLean, McGinn, McGowan, so Gowser, Teal, Thompson, and Goncalves. And subs, Sampson, Lambert, Lavetti, Morgan, and Goodwin.
Stuff. Well, not everyone puts
that
in.
one.
Not everyone puts in substitutes. So thanks very much for going extra mile.
That's because I didn't want to leave them out, and I would also probably put Shuggy Murray on the bench as well, just because he's a star.
And who's your manager?
Oh well, I can't have Goody because he's on the bench. So Jack Ross.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Well, thanks very much for your time, Ali. Enjoy your Christmas and New Year, whatever you're up to, and all the best for Go Radio for the season, and hopefully see this boogie bus down in London.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to get you on, John.
Yeah, well, I'm planning going down there, so I'll look out for you definitely.
Tremendous. Oh, well, thank you so much. I've absolutely loved it. It's been a ball. I've had so much fun. So definitely anytime. Thank you. Really kind.
Take care, Ali. Thank you.